what's going on? Here to give my prediction for the more than likely upcoming fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jose El Rayo Valenzuela. This fight will take place at 135 pounds, and Gervonta Tank Davis has been, I believe, elevated to the WBA, the real champion, so to speak, right? So this fight is a title fight. It should be a title fight. So let's get into the prediction. And as I've stated on a previous video, this ain't gonna take long. So let's get into it though. So we got Gervonta Tank Davis, and by the way, this fight is not even, really technically listed on BoxRec yet, But like I said, this is the opponent that everybody's saying that Tank should be fighting next. Okay, so you're also hearing words of Frank Martin, but I'm hearing more about Jose Valenzuela. So we're going to do a prediction on that fight as if it was official. And if it's not, then hey, whatever. Let's just do it anyway. So we got Gervonta Tank Davis, man. He's at 29 wins, no losses, no draws, 27 wins by knockout. Gervonta Davis has one of the highest knockout ratios in boxing. Everybody knows this. He is not a part of that 100% knockout ratio club, though, but he's up there. He's 29 years old with a height 5'5.5" with a 67.5-inch arm reach. All right. Very explosive fighter, known for his punching power. Very good counter puncher. Good footwork. He can also box. He can also pressure you. This is why I say Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the most complete fighters in boxing today. That's just what it is. I'm saying I give him his hell, but I'm just gonna keep it all the way real. He's a complete fighter as far as his skill set. Okay, his abilities, who he's displayed those abilities against, is very questionable. That's the reason why we want to see him fight the best of the best, and he has yet to really do that yet. And he also appears to have a solid chin as well, but again, that's against a lot of lighter dudes, 130-pounders, some 135ers. We haven't seen him in there with no real solid 140-pounders and anything like that. But let's move on to Jose El Rayo Valenzuela. All right, he stands at 13 wins, 2 losses, 9 wins by knockout, and 1 knockout loss. His knockout loss came at the hands of Edwin De Los Santos back in 2022, and his decision loss came at the hands of Chris Colbert in their first fight. All right, which was a lot of people were questioning that fight, and a lot of people believe that Rayo actually won that fight because he actually dropped Chris Colbert in that fight. I think towards the end, Colbert was picking it up a little bit with the boxing. That's probably what got him to win. But if that wasn't for those last few rounds, I don't think he would have won that fight. Still questionable. All right, so Rayo, man. I mean, like I said, man, I'm not really impressed with his skill set. He's like a jittery fighter, man. He just seems so many holes. He's so open. His defense isn't that good. He got a 69% KO ratio. He has okay punching power. 24 years old, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. So quite bigger than Tank Davis, much taller. It has longer arms, and he's younger. All right, so he has youth on his side. He doesn't move his head. He showed very little progress from the De Los Santos fight to his rematch with Chris Colbert. I mean, I haven't seen anything different. He wings his punches. You know, he telegraphs a lot of his punches. Yeah, I mean, and his chin, you know, might be a little questionable against punchers. You know what I mean? So, you know, come on, man. Anyway, let's get into both of these dudes' last three performances, man. You know, this is what I like to gauge my predictions on. All right, so Gervonta Davis, his last three performances. Last fight was Ryan Garcia. Stopped him to the body, 7th round. Absolutely one-sided fight. Ryan Garcia was no type of match for him at all. The fight before that was another Garcia, a smaller one. He pulled up in weight. Hector Luis Garcia, by the way. Hector he had a good showing in that fight of himself, but he just didn't have the power. He was too small. And ultimately Tank ended up punching his vision loose, man, to where he didn't want to come. They say it was a technical knockout, but I thought that they waved it off. I could have sworn they waved that fight off, but BoxRec got it listed as a technical knockout. I thought they told him he couldn't come back out. I thought that's what it was. At least that's what I thought, that the corner said no, and then they threw in the towel. I got to go back and watch it. But Tank looked good in that fight. He pretty much was in there just sparring Hector Garcia for the most part, man. He was not feeling, he wasn't respecting any bit of his power. He was just there to really pretty much bang it out with him, man. And that's what he did. Broke him down and fucked that boy vision up. That was intense, man. But, I mean, that was expected. Then he fights Rolando Romero. Rolly actually did pretty good early on in that fight. He stayed disciplined. He wasn't too greedy, but then I started seeing him change up around the 5th round. He started being a little bit too comfortable, and then the 6th round he got way too greedy. He rushed his punches. It was almost similar to the way Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez. Only difference is, it was almost the same. He lunged in and he wasn't defensively responsible. He got countered with I think it was a left by Tank, and put him to almost. Only difference was he wasn't put to sleep cold like Pacquiao was. But yeah, he got, he did good, but he just wasn't skilled enough. He didn't have the IQ. But Tank did his thing. He boxed. He was very cautious in that fight because Rolly had power, so he was a little cautious. He said Rolly hit hard, but Tank was cautious. He was setting him up the whole fight, lured him in, and Rolly, by not having the IQ, he fell for it and took the bait and got knocked out. So Tank did good in all three of his last outings. The best performance out of those three, I would have to say, it was maybe the Ryan Garcia fight. I think he did the best in that one, to me, in my opinion. He did good in the Rolando fight. The reason why he did good in all of them, but showing his skill sets, different fashions of his skill set, I think he displayed that more against Ryan Garcia. He was more aggressive against Ryan Garcia. So, yeah, he did the best in that fight. Now, let's go to Jose Valenzuela's last three performances. Last fight was the rematch with Chris Colbert. Yeah, he got the knockout, 6-round knockout. I don't know if he was in there really trying to punish Chris Colbert. I think that's probably what it was. He was in there. His intent was to probably go in there and destroy him and just beat him down for the whole fight until he knocks him out. Chris Colbert, typical dude, doing what he did in the last one almost. He boxed a little bit. He had no power. He didn't have the power to keep Rayo away from him. It did, ultimately he got caught with his hands down and got slept in the 6th round. And that was all she wrote. So his performance in that fight, I mean, I didn't see where he did any much different from the first fight. He just he did a little bit better to me than he did in the other fight, than the first one. First fight, the first fight with Chris Colbert, he was kind of more like chasing him around the ring a lot. He was getting outboxed. He did manage to knock down Chris Colbert, but he was still getting outboxed in that fight. He just didn't look good to me at all. And let's not even talk about the Edwin De Los Santos fight, man. He just didn't. He was getting punched all over the ring. He did manage to knock down Edwin De Los Santos. He, catch him with a good shot, knocked him down. But that kind of woke up La Granada, and he just went beast mode on Rayo and just whooped his ass the whole entire 3 rounds of that fight. Okay, and man, those knockdowns were some of the funniest knockdowns I've seen in a long time in boxing, man. Rayo legs were all over the place. They were buckling and bending all over the place. He just wasn't ready, man. He just, poor performance by El Rayo. No kind of defense. He just went in there winging it against a power puncher. It's a bad idea. All right, if he goes in there and does that with Tank, it's gonna be even worse for him. But anyway, so judging by these last 3 fights from each of these dudes, and then when you figure you put them in the ring, Rayo is gonna go in there and do what Rayo does. He can't box. He doesn't really know. I haven't seen his boxing skills, outboxing, anything like that. He's gonna go in there, try to pressure Tank. He's probably gonna do what Rolly did. It's gonna pretty much look almost like a Rolando Romero fight. And he's gonna go in there. He's probably gonna be a little bit more disciplined than Rolly, but ultimately it's gonna probably end up. It's gonna be the same fate for Rayo. Probably a little later in the fight, maybe like 8th or 9th round knockout. He just doesn't have the defense to stop what Tank brings to him. He don't really have the pop like Rolly did or like Ryan Garcia does, so I don't see him being a threat in the power department. It's possible he can hurt Tank. It's just boxing, but Tank's defense, I think, is a little bit too smart for that, especially for somebody with the skill set of El Rayo. I don't see Rayo doing anything with Tank. Not the slightest bit of a threat, in my opinion. I think this should be a rather easy fight for Tank. I might be giving Rayo a lot of credit by saying he lasts to like the 8th or 9th round. I could be all the way wrong. But I'll say Gervonta Davis will knock him out 8th or 9th round. It could even be sooner than that, bro. Be real with you. It could be sooner than that. I just don't think he got the skill set to hold up against Tank whatsoever. All right. Now, Ryan went 7 rounds with Tank. Hector Garcia went 9 rounds with him, and Rolly went 6 rounds with him. So, what's that telling you? So I look at it like, okay, well, I say Rayo is a little bit better than Rolly, but not as good as Ryan Garcia. So I put that in the middle. So you be the judge. I give, like I said, that's just about on par, man. 8th, 9th round knockout for Gervonta Tank Davis against Jose El Rayo Valenzuela. He just don't got it, man. This should be a rather easy fight for people to bet on. This fight ain't going the distance. So pretty much a easy payday for Tank, man. Let me know what y'all think. This is Rebel Like Boxing. Drop a comment, let me know. I'll catch y'all on the next one. And I'm off this.